Okay, you're going to have a chance to earn some points now by playing a kind of like a game, kind of an activity. Unless you have an odd number of students, you're going to be working with a partner for this project. So you and your partner are going to have a task. You're going to try to write something that has a message or a lesson, kind of like Bill Pete did with the Wump World. You're going to write either a short story or a little play. Now, the short story should not be longer than a page. This is a pretty short story because we're working on our book projects. We don't want to take too long to work on this project. So your short story should be about a page long. Or you can decide to write it as a play instead of a short story. So you would give each character a line to say. If you do it that way, then your play should be somewhere between about 15 and 20 lines long. So not too short and not too long. Now, in your play, you're going to get across a lesson, but so in your play or story, you're going to tell us a lesson. You're going to have a message that you're giving us. But you can't just like come out and say what your lesson or message is. Kind of like in the Bill Pete stories where he tells us something important that he's thinking without saying exactly what the lesson is. You have to choose one of the five. You have to choose one of these five. Your teacher can start to pass out the worksheet for this activity now. And what you'll see when you receive the worksheet is that you have to choose one of 5 different lessons that you can try to tell us about. So here are the lessons. Number 1, it is important to be respectful to animals. That's one lesson that you could choose. If you don't like that one, you could choose a different one though. The second lesson is friendship is very important. The third lesson is it's important to be nice to people who aren't as fortunate as you are, like who don't have as much as you have. The fourth lesson is it's important to take care of Earth and the environment. And the fifth lesson is it's important to honor or be kind to people who are very old. Okay, so you're going to choose one of those 5 lessons and you're going to write a story where at the end of the story or the play, once people are done watching it or seeing it, they'd be able to say, oh, I think the author was trying to tell me and one of those 5 lessons. Like I think the author was trying to tell me that it's important to be to take care of the earth, for instance, if you chose that lesson. You have to choose one of these 5 lessons. If you have an idea for another lesson that's not one of these 5 and you really want to do it, you can ask special permission of your teacher to do that lesson. But otherwise, most people will pick one of these 5 lessons. Remember that you want to try to strike a balance between, you don't want to be too obvious about what you are lesson is. You want to kind of hide it in the story a little bit, the way Bill Pete did in the Wump World. But at the same time, you don't want to make it so confusing that people can't figure out the message. Like, I bet most of you figured out that the message behind the Wump World is that it's important to treat nature well, or it's important not to pollute, or it's important to treat Earth well, or something like that. I bet most of you were able to figure out that theme. So you want to make it easy enough to figure out that your audience will get it. And remember, you'll need to make up the place where your story will take place and the characters that will be in the story. All right, so we're going to get working on that. We're not going to take too much time to work on that. We'll take about 40 minutes to do the project. If you finish early, show it to your teacher, and then you can go back to working on the book gallery. Your teacher can also help you if you get stuck. Try not to spend too much time coming up with the characters and the place that your story takes place, because you want to get started on that story or that play. If your teacher thinks that you have time in this class or in another class for a couple of the groups to act out their play, that would be great. But we can't promise that there'll be time to act it out just because we have a pretty full schedule with the book gallery coming up. All right, let's begin.